All right, I think this is everybody that we're going to have, so we're going to get started. We have a lot of information to get through. My name is Mr. Daly. I am the 11th grade counselor for students at the end of the alphabet, last letters P through Z. We do have some colleagues here I'm going to introduce real quickly. Miss Lutz Bennett is the counselor who's currently in for Miss Adams while she's on an administrative assignment. Miss Lutz Bennett has letters H through O, and Mrs. McGurriman has letters A through G. And also in the corner we have Mr. Brett. Mr. Brett is our department chair and the counselor who's down in the Future Planning Center. And we also have an intern that we're fortunate enough to have this spring, Mr. Taglia Latelli. Was I close? Mr. Tag, or Coach Tag, is down in the Future Plan Center as well as another great resource for everybody. So the purpose of our being here today is to help walk you through selecting your courses for your senior year. So this is pretty exciting time for everybody. This is the last time you have to go through course selection as a North Penn student. So we have 3 semesters that are going to go quickly by until we are all out in Crawford Stadium celebrating your graduation. So this is an exciting time because senior year, you have the biggest say in your schedule than ever before. Okay, if you've been taking care of business and taking a full load of classes and passing them, you're going to have a lot of flexibility in your senior year schedule. And there's a lot of scheduling options that are unique to seniors that we're going to walk through here. So as we jump in, this is kind of a challenging presentation for us to make because we're presenting to all 1,053 juniors that are currently in the building. Okay, and we realize everybody is unique. Everybody's academic transcript and academic background is going to be different. Everybody's post-high school and career plans are going to be different. So today's presentation is geared to be pretty general. We want to walk you through how to build your schedule, where to find information, and how to help you build the best schedule for you for senior year, okay? So when you walk out of this room, our hope is that you have a tentative schedule or your tentative request entered into Infinite Campus, okay? The other point I want to make is each counselor has about 350 students on their caseload. It's mathematically impossible for us to meet with everybody before the portal closes on Monday. Okay, Monday, February 5th at 8 a.m. the portal closes. We're asking you to do the very best that you can inputting your schedule and your requests into Infinite Campus. Then you will have the opportunity to meet with your counselor one-on-one. And we'll walk through any specific circumstances that you have, answer any questions, again, so that you have the best senior schedule for you, okay? So as we get started, I'm going to ask everybody to get their phone out and please grab the QR code that's up on the screen. This QR code is going to take you to the North Penn website where everything related to course selection is housed or will be housed, okay, including this presentation. So this is kind of one-stop shopping for course selection. This will have, for example, our program of studies. Okay, we're a big high school, so our program of studies or our course offerings is about 60 pages long. So you'll find descriptions of all the different classes, maybe even videos explaining what the class is about. It's also where the general information, like graduation requirements, are also housed. And any documents related to course selection are also housed here. Okay, so for some classes, there's an application that you have to submit to get into the class. This is where it would be. If you're interested in a dual enrollment opportunity, particularly off-campus opportunities, there's an intention form that is housed here on this website. so that we can give you approval to sign up for a college class that would also yield high school credit concurrently. And this is also where overrides will be kept. So if you're not happy with the level that your teacher might have recommended for a particular class, as we get closer to the end of the third marking period, this is where overrides are going to be kept. Okay, so this is one-stop shopping for everything that you need. As we jump into actually selecting courses, the first thing we want to do is look at graduation requirements. Obviously, we want to make sure, first and foremost, that you're going to get a diploma at the end of your senior year. So this is on the website that we just showed you, or you can take a quick picture of it. But you can see 23 credits are needed to graduate from North Penn High School, and they need to be satisfied in a very specific manner that you can see there. Okay? So what this means for most students, again, if you have been taking care of business, meaning you've taken a pretty full schedule and limited your study halls, you're passing your classes, at the end of this year, most juniors are going to be in the neighborhood of 20 credits. Okay, so you can see we're getting really close to that 23 that's needed for graduation. So in the majority of cases, seniors only really need English, social studies, and either a math or science credit to align with graduation requirements. Okay? The rest of the day is then yours to do what's best for you. And again, we're going to jump into all these scheduling opportunities, many of which are unique to seniors. Okay? Your academic transcript is how we make sure that you're aligned with graduation requirements. Okay, so your transcript has the courses and grades from 9th grade and 10th grade, and it has the courses that you're currently taking in 11th grade. So we need to compare your transcript with those graduation requirements. Unfortunately, there's not really a clean place in Infinite Campus for you to view your own transcript. You can see it in the academic planner, but you won't see your final grades for the courses that you've already taken. So, if you would like to make sure you're aligned with graduation and maybe meet any prerequisites for courses, you can get an unofficial copy of your transcript by the QR code that is currently up on the screen. So if you would like an unofficial copy of your transcript, this QR code is going to take you to a Google form where you can request it from Mrs. Borchers, our transcript secretary. Please keep in mind that as we do these presentations, she is getting a lot of requests, so please provide her ample time to respond to those. Okay? Aside from the 23 credits that are needed for graduation, students also need to demonstrate proficiency on their Keystone exam. And there's a number of ways that students can demonstrate proficiency, or different pathways. The cleanest pathway is to score proficient or better on each exam, algebra, bio, and lit. Okay, we realize not everybody is able to accomplish that. So if a score of 1,500 is proficiency, if you added up 1,500 for algebra, bio, and lit, that total would be 4,500. We allow you a little wiggle room saying if we add all 3 tests up and no test is below basic, if the sum of the tests is 4,452 or better, we can demonstrate proficiency by way of the composite pathway. So it gives you a little bit of wiggle room by adding up all 3 scores. If we're not able to demonstrate proficiency by way of these pathways, There are a number of other options that we have, and that would best be accomplished through the one-on-one conversation with your counselor. Okay, but we're confident that we are going to find the appropriate pathway for everybody in the 11th grade to demonstrate proficiency on their keystones. So we really just want to bring this to your attention today, because this is going to be an important part of the conversation when you do have that one-on-one meeting with your counselor. So I'm going to be turning things over to Mrs. McGurriman to start building your senior schedule.
Hello, everybody. We're going to start to build your schedule based on our academic day here at North Penn. So our day here at North Penn is 8 periods. So we're going to envision that we're kind of just building an 8-period schedule. But if you can note there at the bottom, our final goal, and this is going to come up a little bit later in the presentation again, is to get you between 6.2 and 6.9 credits this year. So we're going to move on to our first period, or first selection, which would be English. So there's 3 different options. There's AP English 12, or the second option would be picking 2 semester classes, anywhere from Brit Lit down to Women's Voices, and you would pick 2 of the 4. And these are available at the 5.0 and the 6.0 level. So 2 semester classes equals your 1 English credit. Or you can pick English 101, which is a dual enrollment class. And you're going to hear that term several times throughout our presentation. And dual enrollment means that you get a high school credit and you get a college credit at the same time. English 101 is actually a Montgomery County Community College English class that they bring it up here to North Penn, and it is taught by a North Penn English teacher. So again, you're getting a high school credit and a college credit all together. Now there is a fee involved with all dual enrollment classes, which it's variable depending upon what college it's coming from. The second thing we're going to look at is social studies. So AP Government, there's 3 different options, which one of those options is a dual enrollment class. So again, high school, college credit taught here on North Penn's campus, or the second option is all seniors must take at least a semester of American Government. So you're going to take a semester of American Government along with one of the other selections that are listed up there. So 2 semester classes equaling your 1 social studies credit. And the semester classes are all available in the 5.0 or the 6.0 levels. Math. Math is pretty individualized, and that most of your teachers will have already had some conversations with you, and they've preloaded that into your portal. So your Infinite Campus Academic Planner portal of what level math kind of fits in your math sequence. Now, it is at the bottom. Prerequisites must be followed. And going to jump back to the term Mr. Daly mentioned, that overrides. You can override any class that your teacher recommends for you as long as you meet the prerequisite. And a lot of times that has to do with grades. So we don't entertain overrides until at the end of the 3rd marking period. So we have about 3/4 of your grade together to see if you're going to meet that prerequisite for the grades. Now in senior year, math or science you can take. You don't have to take both. But again, please take the time to think about what are you doing after high school? Are you going to go to college? Does your college major require that you take a math and a science? Is it better for you to take a math and a science just going into college? Think about it. And a lot of times, as a junior, you're going to say, I don't know what I want to do. So plan to take that math and take that science if you're just really unsure, just so you have it in your back pocket if you need to use it. So again, science, your teachers kind of put out a Google form of any of your intentions, any classes that you wanted to take, and that will already be preloaded. Again, we can change it, add to it, delete it out, but we have to keep in mind, again, the prerequisites that's required for the science classes. Next thing would be health or PE. If you've taken health and PE in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, you're done. So you only need to take 3 years of that. But let's just say we couldn't fit it in your schedule in 11th grade and you've taken it in 9th and 10th grade, we'll go in and clean it up and put it in your schedule for 12th. If you happen to see in your portal that there's an error message that says you don't have enough math or PE, sometimes an error just pops up, but you'll be able to see if you've taken it in 9th, 10th, and 11th, and please just know 3 years is all that's required in both of those. We'll put lunch and your 2 electives. So those 2 electives, if you happen to be at tech school, those are your 2 periods of electives. But please take the opportunity to browse through our 60 pages of courses that are taught here at North Penn and pick something that might help you figure out what you want to do. Just explore maybe a different opportunity that you might not have had before or had the opportunity to put in there. The other thing is some unique opportunities that are available to seniors. So the 2 popular ones at the top, no school period 1, that means you get to come in late after first period. No school period 8, that means you get to leave early. Now the one nice thing with no school period 8 is then we plug in 7th period lunch for you, and you get to leave at the end of 6th period. So that's like you're getting almost like a double period that you get to leave the building. Other things, work and career study. Mr. McLarnon did have a meeting a little bit earlier today during nighttime. If you happen to have missed that and you're interested in work or career study, the applications are available in K25. And Mr. McLarnon is down in K31 in the afternoons that you can kind of stop in, ask him any questions that you might have. And you might say, what's the difference between work and career study? Work study is that you might leave at the end of 5th period and you have a job that you're going to go off to and get paid for it. Career study might be that you want to be an elementary music school teacher, that you're going to go down to one of our elementary schools and you're going to work with and mentor with a music teacher down there. So that's the difference between the 2. But please, if you're looking to do that or interested in doing that, please don't wait too long because there is a deadline for that application. And there's lots of signatures that you need to get in order to hand that application in. Then we have gifted mentorship for our gifted students. We have the CHIP program, that is, Mr. Fry is that advisor. So he is also housed down in K31. Mr. Daly also mentioned Mr. Brett, Mr. Tagg. They're both down in the Future Plan Center. So please, anything career, college related, pop down and see them and they can kind of align you with the right person there. There's also 3 opportunities available for seniors at North Monco, or our tech school that's right behind us. The first one would be called Allied Health. That is something, if you're interested in like medicine in any way, that is housed, you literally go to Lansdale Hospital and you get to shadow and mentor with some of the different people that work in a hospital. So that is one. The second one is biomedical technology. That's also, if you want to go into like the medical field, but more in a lab environment, that is also a very interesting position too, or class that you can take over at North Monco. Both of those have applications that go along with that. And the tech school is going to be coming over tomorrow during nighttime. So if you think you might be interested in either one of those, please pop down here during nighttime tomorrow. And the teachers from North Monco are coming over to answer any questions and give you more information and hand out the applications. And again, there's a deadline involved there that you just need to be aware of. And the last one, they're starting a physical therapy program over at North Monco. So that will also be open to seniors. If you want to take a look at that, they do have an open house on February 1st to kind of go over and take a peek at their next, what that program is going to look like. So this is what you guys should be looking at in your portal on Infinite Campus. So if you look at 9th grade to the left, 10th grade, 11th grade, you're going to be looking at the right-hand column, which is 12th grade. And I had said take note of that 6.2 to 6.9. If you look up here at the top, that's the magic number that you want that credit. And that will automatically calculate as you add and take things out of all the classes that were recommended for you. Please note, some things will be locked, like your English class, and that just gives us a leveling for you. You don't necessarily have to take what the teacher recommended for you because you do have those 4 options, but that will give us the leveling for you. If it is unlocked, that means that you are free to delete and add in whatever you want. So again, goal is 6.2 to 6.9. The only reason that it would be less than 6.2 is if you're planning on taking advantage of no school period 1 or no school period 8. If you put that in there, then it's going to be lessened by 1 credit. But that's the only way, is if you put that in there, that I will know that that's your intention. If, when the portal closes on next Monday, and it's below the 6.2, the counselors will automatically just go in and add things at random, because we need to start thinking about setting up staff for next year, and we will just randomly put in an FCS class or a music class or a business class for you. So please take the next few days to go in and give us an idea what you want to do, because we just don't know you individually enough to think what you're thinking and what you want to take. So really important, either the 6.2 to 6.9 or adding in that no school period 1 or no school period 8. Going to transfer it over to Mrs. LB.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mrs. Lutz Bennett, Mrs. LB for short. I'm the middle of the alphabet, H through O. Some of you have met me before. If not, just to let you know, I am in for Miss Adams. So I will be in for her for the rest of the school year. So when you schedule your course selection meeting, it'll be with me. This slide covers some of the things that we just want you all to be mindful of. Senior year is going to be a lot different than what you're used to. So the first one says, can you handle requested courses with extracurricular activities? Those things that you need to keep in mind, you may already be doing it, but you may be working, you may be doing sports. So those are things to keep in mind when you're building your schedule for next year. What are some of those extracurricular things to take into consideration when you're building this schedule? And do your courses align with your post-graduation plans? So that means, are you going to college? Are you choosing the work path? Which one are you gearing towards? And you want to base your classes accordingly. If you plan to go to school for medical, you don't necessarily want to take art classes. You want to take classes that are going to focus more in the medical field. So you want to focus on, when you're doing your course selection, looking at those classes and see what interests you. On the other hand, say you want to get into the sciences, you're going to want to build your schedule accordingly. So think about, with that in mind, we want you to build your schedule according to what your future plans are, what your interests are in the future. We do want you to challenge yourself, but to an extent. We don't want you to get to a point where you've overwhelmed yourself. Some of you may be taking AP honors courses. You might be looking at taking dual enrollment. So when you're building your schedule, make sure that you're taking those courses into consideration. What's going to be your schedule like out of school, out of the classroom setting? How much extra additional work are you going to be doing, like homework-wise and things like that? If you're taking AP honors classes now, you're well aware of that extra load, but if you're looking at switching, when we talk about the overrides at the end of marking period 3, it's something you're going to want to take into consideration. A big important thing to think about senior year, if you are choosing the college path, think about applications and the essays that go along with applying for colleges. That's another thing to take into consideration with the extracurricular and how you're going to build your courses or your classes. It's down one when it says alternatives, but I want to focus on that since we were just talking about that, about building your schedule. When you're building your schedule, of course, we want to try to get all of your preferred classes in there. That's plan A. But we also want you to be prepared with a plan B. Depending on how the courses fall, and like Mrs. McGurman mentioned about staffing, if that is that class, like say there's one class left that is just not able to fit into the schedule, we want to make sure you have an alternate. We want you to have a plan B because we might need to go to that plan B for some of your classes. Hopefully not many of them, hopefully none at all, but we want you to make sure that you're getting a class that you're interested in. So number one, or plan A might be your preferred. Plan B is still something you're interested in, and in case you can't get A, you get B. And overrides, we talked about that a lot. So I just want to focus on that real quick. Just remind you, overrides are not available. We will not be able to do them until the end of the 3rd marking period because like Mrs. McGurman said, we want to make sure we have a pretty good idea of how you're doing in that class to see if an override is warranted. So that will have one more marking period under your belt to make that decision. And the last thing that you do see on there, I'm saving this one for last because it's heading into my next slide, is Calendly. I'm going to be bringing up some QR codes here in a second, and that's how you're going to be making appointments with your counselor. If you're not familiar with Calendly, I've never made an appointment through that before, you're going to be prompted to set up an account. It's very quick. Just put in your North Penn email, and that's how we're going to be scheduling our appointments. Now, as I go into the next slide, something I want you to keep in mind is to be prepared. We want you to come to us prepared, and we've talked about it many times. Mr. Daly, Mrs. McGurman have focused on it. Come to us with a prepared schedule. Make sure you've already built that schedule between the 6.2 and 6.9 credits, so we don't have to add in anything for you, and we don't have to take too much time during our appointment because it's only going to be 15 to 20 minutes, so we don't want to have to take too much time on that. So come to us prepared. Come to us with your built schedule, any questions you may have for us, and like was mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, work and career study based, college questions, CHIP questions, please go to K31. They are a very valuable resource down there. Make sure you're visiting them, and they can get some of those questions answered for you, steer you down the path that might be best for you, and then you have those questions answered for when you come to your counselor. And you can let us know and fill us in on the answers and the conversations that you had down in K31. So I really encourage you to make an appointment with them or stop in K31 before you meet with the counselors. Beginning of the alphabet, if your last name is A through G and you know that Mrs. McGurman's your counselor, please scan this. If you don't know your counselors, pay attention. A through G, Mrs. McGurman, please scan this QR code. I'll keep it up there for a minute. If you're having difficulties, have the backup plan of taking a quick picture of it. Now, when you're scheduling with Calendly, we want to make sure that you're using your North Penn email account. Please don't use Gmail, please don't use iCloud. Make sure that you're using your North Penn email address. It is going to prompt you to put in your cell phone number and your email. Those are so you can get reminders. We are not calling you, we're not texting you. It's for the system. It's to make sure that you get all of those reminders. Just like when you go to the doctor's office, they give you a week in advance, day in advance, morning of, through text, similar situation. Middle of the alphabet, that's me, H through O. If you had Miss Adams, you're going to be scheduling with me. Scan this QR code. That'll take you to my calendar. And again, we're not going to be reaching out to you like that. That's just giving you reminders. So you make sure that you show up to your appointment. We're not going to be chasing you down. So you'll have plenty of reminders. Mr. Daly, end of the alphabet, P through Z. If Mr. Daly is your counselor, please scan this QR code. Again, we really want you to have a scheduled appointment before you leave here today. And if you are looking at doing an override, don't jump on February. You might not see February appointments. I think they might already be filled up. But just give yourself a little extra time, maybe schedule in the beginning, mid-March. End of March, so you have an idea of what your grade is going to be. But it's not an advantage. It's not an advantage to go first thing or last, okay? We're all going to get the same opportunities. Just make sure you get that scheduled. And the last two reminders that we want to put up here are the important dates. Remember, the portal closes Monday, February 5th. At 8 a.m. So make sure that you build your schedule. That will be the last time that you and your guardians can make the changes in the system. After that, you and your guardians will have until April 30th to reach out about any changes, but after the 30th, that is the deadline. So you have until April 30th for you and your guardians. Okay? Anything after that will have to go through your counselors. So before I go back to the first slide, in case you need to scan it for the course selection, does anybody need me to go back and go to any of the counselors' QR codes? Whose do you need? Mrs. McGurman, A through G, this is her QR. Okay. Okay, we're going to move along so everybody gets this. Mine, middle of the alphabet, H through O. Miss Adams, Mrs. LB, this is my QR code. All right, and we'll pop Mr. Daly's up there real quick. End of the alphabet, P through Z, Mr. Daly. All right, any questions before we head out? Any questions? Now's a great time to ask them because I'm sure you're not the only one that has the question. I'm sure a lot of your peers have the same. So it's a good time to get them out there. Oh, add a guest? Yeah, that's okay. It's just you and the counselor during the school day. Yeah, that like a parent or something to your have them come in virtually and they don't attend? Yes, absolutely, it's fine. Yes. Oh, Mrs. McGurman's again? Mm-hmm. Make sure you hit save. A good thing when you're building the schedule, make sure at the bottom you're hitting save. You don't want all of your hard work to, delete and go away. Make sure you're hitting save before you click out of that page. Okay, very important. Sure. All right. QR code for me, middle of the alphabet, H through O. Let's back up if you need it. Anybody still in need of a QR code for your counselor? Okay. Any other questions for us? All right, make sure you get this appointment scheduled today. Please don't wait, and please don't wait until the end of April.
Can we go back to the transcript request?
Sure.
And if you want an unofficial copy of your transcript,
And something to remember when you're coming in, make sure that you've already, hopefully by the end of today, you have a tentative schedule in there. Make sure that that's all taken care of. So when you're sitting down with us at your appointment, it's already up there for us. Remember, between 6.2 and 6.9. So get those appointments on our calendars.